Well, I'm excited to
Hmm.
hear what you've got to say about the outfielder, number two in our Astros list, Jacob Melton. Melton has got a setup that's very similar to a major leaguer that Astros fans are going to be very familiar with. I'm curious what you like about the Melt Man.
We talk about often with Jacob Melton, right? Like a lot of prospects, you hear the term Kmart version, Walmart version, and he does sort of have that Walmart version of Kyle Tucker to him. And I mean that in the best possible way, right? Like he's got an unorthodox swing. He swings from the left side. There's a lot to like about Melton. It's a lot of tools, but in AAA, all of a sudden things started to erode for him. We're talking about, I know it's only on 92 play appearances, but it was 78 WRC plus. He hit 280, 314, 405, which in AAA is not good, especially when you consider that he played in the PCL where everybody goes bonkers, right? 5 home runs, 11 stolen bases. But with him, there is that avenue for him to kind of take center field. He's more of a right fielder, but he can masquerade at center field and be sort of fine. We're talking about a good runner, and there's above average power here. It's kind of in the mold of I'm trying to think of a good comp, but the back end, like sort of like if you want to look at like a graph and everything like that, like the back end of a bell curve is he could be a really good fourth outfielder, like with who can play any of the three defensive and three of the outfield spots. He can throw really well. He can run really well. He has power when he does make contact. The ultimate question is, does he make enough contact? The unorthodox bat path that goes along with the swing, which Tyler Pater, who writes really good reports for us, quote wrote it as a lumberjack bat path, which is kind of alarming, right? You want someone who has a little bit of barrel manipulation and ability to maneuver the barrel in the zone. He does not have that. So it's kind of he can only get his A swing off in certain areas of the zone, and that ultimately hurts the profile. But we could be talking about, like I said, a really good fourth outfielder with a chance to be a decent regular if everything sort of works out for him.
Like you were saying, if he is great value, uh, Kyle Tucker, I think that that's still a credible major leaguer and a guy fantasy players need to be aware of. But you've got to, again, you kind of alluded to it, Reese, how the numbers dipped in a way that was pretty shocking compared, considering that he was going to the PCL. Just looking at isolated power metrics from last season, the jump from double A to triple A, the isolated power went from 195 to 145. And now, granted, it was a little bit of a shorter sample size, 11 less games in AAA than we had in AA. That's concerning, though. We should see that power uptick. And again, less home runs by about 50% and just about 50% less stolen bases, too. So, in an offensive environment that is, I believe you said bonkers, Reese, I'll use that same vernacular. It's concerning for Melton. And so I'm curious what exactly he's going to look like this year. I'd love to see a step forward for the Melt Man because, again, who am I to not great value anything? Great value. Kyle Tucker is something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. And as I alluded to earlier, we just released an update on our top 600 prospects, the Dynasty team. Jacob Melton, only a few spots above Bryce Matthews at number 136. So, again, a player that fantasy players need to be keenly aware of, Reese.